Hey guys, what is up? It's TreeBros001 here, and I just took a 10-second bite out of this video. And today we got some Forza 5 multiplayer gameplay, and that's kind of what I want to talk about this episode. I have already made a or not this episode, this video. Unless I decide to make this into an episode series, this is not an episode. But beforehand, I talked about my first impressions of Forza, and those have actually changed quite a bit since then. And I'd kind of like to make a follow-up video, but this is mainly just going to be talking about multiplayer and how much fun it is now, actually. So at first I didn't like multiplayer mainly because the system was not ideal, and now that I've played it more, the system is not horrible, but it's not the best, but it's usable. And it works fairly well. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I made it out to be in my first impressions video. So that's good. And secondly, I also said that the multiplayer was pretty much just a demolition derby, which was also kind of wrong. You know, the multiplayer on its own, like, it's fun to play. And one of the reasons I did not like it before is because going from being pretty good at career mode to being good at multiplayer had quite a, not really that steep, but you had to experiment and kind of weigh things out, and there was a small learning curve. Like, what gave me much greater success in the multiplayer races was the assists. So I was doing relatively okay each race. Holy crap, that lisp. This is how it was going. I was doing relatively well each race. I was getting in the middle of the pack almost all the time, and now I'm getting top 3 every time usually. And the way I'm doing that is I experimented with assists and learned, kind of got a concept of in my head of what I'd like to do or what you have to do to win more races. And there's two things. The first one is the assists. And what I found out was never to use assisted braking. Once I turned off assisted braking and actually got good at non-assisted braking, you just go so much faster around straightaways where you don't need a brake, or turns where you don't need a brake. All you need to do is let off the gas a little bit. But with auto or assisted braking, it would automatically brake for you, which would decrease the time it took to do that turn. And I also made it just so it was the brake line instead of the entire line, which also kind of made me feel more free to move around the track and, you know, keep the efficient turns, but make it more so I could get around the track freely without feeling obligated to go onto a line that may not be the fastest way. It might be the most efficient, but not the fastest. And it also lets you, like, think about how to overtake people and still get on the braking line easier without having more clutter with the recommended driving line. So I also made it so it was braking only for the driver line, and then I also did, the last thing was normal steering. I never really dabbled in assisted steering. I just always did normal, so I'm pretty used to that. But secondly is racing consistently. Or like, make sure every turn is as clean and crisp as the last one was, and just keep doing that. Do not try to force anything like I did around this part last lap, where I tried forcing something and I spun out, actually. So that didn't work out too well. And it's all about just being consistent and make sure that then once the other person ahead of you screws up, then you take advantage of that with your consistency and just swipe in and take his spot. Now let's just talk about the ending of the race. That's all I really have to say. There's some tips for multiplayer for you. Multiplayer is actually really fun in this game. It's not as bad as I made it out to be in my first impressions video. It's a lot better now for me, and it's a lot more fun, and I'm doing a lot better in it. Now we have Circuit de Spa, or whatever it is. It's a lot of people just call it Spa. And this circuit is really fun in the last corkscrew it has, because in multiplayer I found out that you could really cheese some people off by, like, in the final turn, what you could do is you could knock them forward a little bit, like rear end them right before they're about to turn into it, to kind of screw up their turning a little bit. And then you could, then if you set yourself up at the right angle, you could just take a shortcut right through the corkscrew, and then you could just pass so much people. And this is exactly what I do here. Take a look. And so that's the knock ahead, and then what you do is you knock him ahead a little bit. And then, yeah, then there you go. So that's it, guys. See you guys later. Peace out. Here's the reaction.
Oh my god, the fucking Ferrari passed me at the end. Motherfucker! He pushed me out of the way and fucking took a shortcut and just passed me. Like a little bitch. And I started catching up to him on the straightaway. And he still beat me because the straightaway was too short. Motherfucker.
Gotta be something like that.
And now I'm passing him. This is hilarious.
You got first